Will Kayatin from the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, and I have the pleasure and privilege of being joined by my longstanding colleague.
And I'm Cheryl Mathis. I'm the Low Incidence Consultant here at Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative.
Now, Cheryl and I have spent many, many years working together.
Yeah,
I think we're approaching about a decade,
probably so.
and probably a little bit longer if we drop back into my university days and partnership work with KVEC. And so I'm delighted that we have a chance to visit with our teachers for a few minutes to talk about some upcoming opportunities, because Cheryl and I continue to work together like we always have, and we have been having conversations about the upcoming conferences for low incidence students. And these are the same conferences that you've experienced over the past few years at the Knott County Sportsplex, for example. So the plan that we have in place to kind of give us a sense for how everything's going to work in this virtual environment is you're going to experience the low incidence conference like you did at the Sportsplex in person, albeit virtually through Zoom. So our presenters, 30-minute workshops, 10 to 12 I think, will present live, albeit virtually, to your students. And Cheryl is helping me because it's her expertise. I've certainly come a long way in working with low incidence students because, of course, as you well know, I work with all students who have special needs, but our low incidence student population is very diverse. There's an incredible cross-section of talent and ability, and that makes it especially challenging to work with low incidence students and design a conference and a series of workshops that will appeal to all of them. So one of the things that Cheryl and I talked about, and this is based on a suggestion from a teacher. Always share your suggestions. We'll do our best to incorporate them.
Absolutely.
She posited that it might be nice to try a workshop that has an activity attached to it. And what we would do is identify that activity,
Absolutely.
order the materials and resources, and get those out to your board offices for you to pick up, and then your parents can pick those manipulatives up.
Definitely so.
And students could engage in a little activity before the actual low incidence conference. We're probably not going to do that for all 4 sessions, but we'll try one, see how it goes. And Cheryl is gracious and kind given her schedule, but appreciate your expertise, Cheryl.
Absolutely.
So,
and this will give students an opportunity to not just watch videos, but watch a video with a live person and actually engage in an activity. So I think that will be kind of nice for our students, and maybe a little bit different from what they're getting ready to engage in with just more of watching the videos. But this will be more hands-on learning, and it'll give students something to do with a finished product. So it will be kind of your charge as teachers to figure out, okay, these materials are going to be picked up at the central office, but how in the world am I going to get those out to students? So that might be working with bus drivers or paraprofessionals or parents to get those materials out, and we'll package those individually, and we'll get those to the board offices just as soon as we can. So I think that'll be really nice for the students. Give them a little bit of a change.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
All we can do is continue to try and plow forward and see what works and adjust accordingly. And again, our low incidence conferences are always centered on soft skills, life skills. I think we've done a good job over the past few years.
Absolutely.
The low incidence conferences have been well received, well attended. Participation has been terrific. Unfortunately, we won't be at the Sportsplex. We won't get to enjoy that social interaction, which is really critical for all students, even more so our low incidence student population. So we'll miss that, but we all are confident that this will pass, and we'll be back together sooner rather than later. Meanwhile, we want to do the best job we can, and I just am very appreciative, Cheryl, that you are carving out a little bit of time to work with me and help me, given your expertise. And I think You will be delighted with the end result,
Absolutely.
teachers, and thank you so much for all of your support, your confidence in us as your colleagues, and we look forward to
Absolutely.
sharing this information with you. I'm actually going to send out a little short email with the details, and we are tentatively looking at the last Friday in September and or the first Friday in October as potential dates. We've always hosted these low incidence conferences at the Sportsplex on Fridays. It's worked well,
Absolutely.
and so we'll try to do the same thing. Obviously, we have traditionally hosted them a little bit earlier, but with everybody settling in, we thought it would be wise on our
Yeah.
part to wait, let everybody settle in,
Yeah.
and let's just see how it goes. And what doesn't work, we will fix.
Absolutely.
Because my commitment to you teachers is to host and lead with my colleagues. Some of them are here at KVAC, but we will also bring in external pre-ETS experts to participate and contribute 2 to 4 of these low incidence region-wide conferences this year. And it'll probably end up being 4. So
Absolutely.
if the first one doesn't work for you, you'll have another opportunity in mid-December before we break for the holiday.
Yep.
And then we'll probably have another low incidence conference toward the end of the winter. And then the final one, I would say end of April, very beginning of May. That seems to be the schedule that has worked best for our low incidence teachers. That's what they've shared with me. So those are the date parameters that we have tried to use in hosting the low incidence conferences. So before we adjourn, is there anything that you want to share with our teachers? We're both going to be visiting with them
Absolutely.
on September 24th. You've got something going on. Do you want to promo that real quick?
Yeah, on September 24th, we'll be having an alternate assessment workday via Zoom, so teachers can come together, and we'll have multiple staff members from KVEC on staff also to help with questions or work samples, those kinds of things that you may have, because this year, as we know, the alternate assessment has changed a little bit as compared to last year. So we'll be overviewing those changes and also looking at plans moving forward and looking at how we can support you at KVEC. So that is September 24th. So let me know definitely if you need that registration link. And actually, we may be able to add that to the end. But yeah, definitely look forward to seeing everyone that day.
Sounds wonderful. And before we adjourn, I just want to remind you that in addition to the low incidence conferences throughout the year, please give serious consideration to picking out a day, a time slot that would last about a class period, periodically throughout the year, when you can channel me into your classroom to host a live transition workshop for your students. Same thing we did in person, we're just going to do it virtually.
Yeah, and definitely that's an awesome opportunity for students to maybe get a little bit something different and see a different face behind that camera. So definitely an awesome opportunity, and I would encourage everyone to definitely take advantage of that and allow Will to come in and work with your students. And we consider your students our students as well. So definitely take advantage of that.
Got quite a video gallery, and these are pre-recorded, but just to frame it a bit, I've built out over 40 pre-ETS video vignettes across all 5 pre-ETS topical areas. And so we would pick a video that your students are interested in, and they last 10 minutes, some of them last 20 minutes, and then we'd have some dialogue. So that would be what one of those in-school workshops would look like. So with that, I'm going to hush. And I don't want this to run too long, and Cheryl and I will holler at you later.